What we do here is go back.
Hello, my name is Trainmaster GT, and welcome to my Trainz M120 module building series. Today, what we're doing here is going back to the year 1993 to build a scene from one of the best films in cinema history, Jurassic Park. More accurately, I'm building the scene where the T-Rex escapes its enclosure and attacks the people aboard the tour cars. So I decided that to celebrate the end of summer, as well as the release of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, I wanted to do a route based on Jurassic Park. And I chose the T-Rex paddock because I thought it'd be really cool to have the trains running next to, well, the T-Rex paddock. So, over the course of this video, I do get to use a bunch of new assets and build techniques that I have not used before, including that prefabricated tunnel you saw me place earlier, and I'm very happy with the results. So, I'm using this sort of grassy texture as a road. If you see in the movie, depending on the scene you're looking at, the ground is either looking like tan or all muddy and brown. So I went with the tan that we see when we first see the T-Rex stack because I want this to look good in the daytime and the nighttime, and I felt like the nighttime scene would not be diminished by using the daytime ground cover. In the pit that Alan, Tim, and Lex fall into, I do use the proper mud color because, you know, you need to get that mud in there. So this episode ended up being a pain in the butt to make. I had a number of technical difficulties. Now, I knew just kind of going into doing a Trainz series that I was going to have some issues at some point. I was hoping that they wouldn't occur, but guess what? They did.
Boy, do I hate being right all the time.
Anyway, I had this issue with the T-Rex fence. You see, because of the nature of Trainz, there's over like 400,000 individual assets. So you're bound to have some assets that'll cause some issues, even if they're not actually faulty assets. T-Rex fence is very high poly, and although it looks amazing, it was causing an issue because of a spline junction I had placed at one point to create sort of like a fence separating the T-Rex's enclosure from the ditch that pushes Dr. Grant, Tim, and Lex into about during halfway through its attack sequence. And on a map I had seen of that sort of scene, it said that there's supposed to be a fence there, so I added in a fence. And that was causing all of my buildings and more trees to just kind of phase in and out of existence for no real reason. So that was very weird. Then I had an issue with actually my payware assets. And in the end of the video for my SimX, I use my PRR T1 Fleet of Modernism. It's a wonderful payware train, but for some reason, the game just decided, oops, none of your payware is going to be active just because I like trolling you. So I ended up having to spend a lot of time and literally reinstall Trainz to get the T1 to come back. So anyway, let's actually talk about the build. So I decided with another tropical themed build for this week just because there really aren't enough good tropical Trainz builds, and I felt like I needed to make another one. I went with the Jurassic Park theme because I thought Jurassic Park's really cool. You've got these great Jurassic Park assets, so I was just like, okay, well, let's do a Jurassic Park module, because it's much easier to do a module than a full route for something that doesn't exist. So I ended up doing a module, and I decided to go with the T-Rex paddock, because it looked like something that would look very nice with the trains. You know, I think the PRT1 specifically look really cool when it's dark and raining, and that just coincidentally happens to be when Jurassic Park is at its best, when it's, you know, a thunderstorm, it's raining, and I can just imagine the T-Rex just sort of roaring at the train as it sort of rolls by its enclosure, and it's, you know, thunder strikes in the background and illuminates the side of the train. Oh god, it'd just be so cool to have that in real life. It'd be so awesome. And now, I'm placing some happy little trees. I am doing Bob Ross proud with the number of happy trees that I'm placing. And these trees are all so happy, and they've got plenty of friends. So, this is like Bob Ross's heaven. You know, so I decided to kind of go through and do the same copy-paste technique with my trees as I had used with the ground. And part of the reason for that was just because speed trees have a very large impact on performance, and I wanted to make sure that I wasn't using too many, but still having a fairly good spread and a fairly thick looking forest. So I kind of got everything down to a minimalistic thickness, but still got everything distributed. And then sort of moved the trees around just to liven things up a bit. You know, when you're copy pasting, you need to make sure that you break up the uniformity of things. It's a great way to populate a large space quickly, but you should spread everything out and make it look more natural. Not every copy paste is going to work in your favor unless you spend some time fixing it up and just making it look better. I added a bunch of palm trees around our little outhouse just so that it looks a little bit more like the scene. I should have gone and added some more bushes around that. I do add some bushes later, but I think it might have done well from some more bushes, but it looks pretty good. I'm very happy with how that little scene turned out. I ended up making sure to include a lot of references to the T-Rex attack in the film, and ultimately, I decided to make sure that my references to the movie and the different scenes that I used were just iconic moments from the film. I didn't want everything to look like it did at one moment in the film, because this way I didn't have to worry about continuity. You know, if I want to have the T-Rex behind the fence still and have the fence complete, well then I would have to just have the tour vehicles both be there. I couldn't have the goat, but then they'd have to be stalled going the other way, and then it would always need to be raining. So I just figured, let's just do one tour vehicle, have one in the tree, have the goat, have the outhouse still there, but have the T-Rex in the fence still. Just add the references that people will understand without completely going off the deep end. And I could still have the goat. Where's the goat? There's the goat. So, you know, that ended up working out better, and I think it allowed me to make a better module overall. Now, I recognize that not everyone is necessarily a fan of these routes that are based purely in fiction. But do not worry, the next few episodes after this will be much more realistic. To begin the series, I just wanted to push the limits of what we can do with Trainz and especially M120 modules. But you need more realistic things to operate in, so from here on out, at least for a while, we are going to be doing much more realistic builds. Here what I'm doing is just fixing the edging for the train table itself so that you don't see that random hole right there. This is because of the assets that the original creator of the M120 project used to make the modules look like they're on an actual table. Kind of removes the ground entirely, so the ground that you're actually seeing is just a really huge asset designed to make it look like a floor and room, so you have to actually add edging, or else your module looks like it's not sitting on a table. And we're coming to the end of the time-lapse here because we're adding the famous gravel. I'm adding a level crossing over the restroom so that our rest area can have access to the road and the rail. Not that there's a station here, but just that'd look pretty cool. Well, that's it for me. I will see you after the cinematic shots. Until then, please enjoy the cinematic shots featuring rain, trains, and darkness. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. You can also follow me on Instagram at TrainmasterGT. If you'd like to experience the terror of Jurassic Park for yourself, this module will be available on the download station, so you can play along. I'll see you in the next episode. And remember, life, finds a way.